The Zephyrian High Command sat in the heart of the Outer Rim Fortress, a massive spire of shimmering crystal and black steel. Around them, translucent star maps floated mid-air, glowing softly. Stars blinked in cold blue and white. Vast fleets spun in holographic formation. Sleek Vorak warships, Zephyrian dreadnoughts, all ready to crush what they called the primitive mammals. Admiral Vrax, a towering Zephyrian in polished silver armor, leaned forward. His 4 eyes narrowed on the display. "Look at them," he spat. "Humans!" Slow, clumsy, weak, barely more than animals in fragile suits. Beside him, Commander Jelk of the Vorak fleet tapped a command panel. His dark carapace shimmered under the bridge's pale lights. Their ships lagged centuries behind ours. Their plasma weapons sputter like dying fireflies. "This will be a swift victory," Vrax snorted. "Their colonies on Mars moons are a joke, a minor annoyance at best. We can sweep them aside in a day." The command bridge was a cathedral of war. Walls curved in seamless arcs of obsidian and crystal. The floor beneath their feet pulsed faintly, alive with power. Holograms of star systems spun lazily in the center. Vorak vessels, dark and deadly like black beetles, circled a glowing point, the human system. Jelk traced a clawed finger along the star map. "Our scouts report their fleets scattered. No unified defense. We strike first. We strike hard. No mercy." A junior officer, a Zephyrian scholar draped in robes of shifting light, hesitated near the side panel. "Admiral, the ancient records from the elder races—" "Silence!" Vrax snapped. "Those are myths, fairy tales from weaker species afraid of humans, unpredictable nature. We have technology, firepower, numbers. That is all that matters." The scholar bowed his head, but didn't stop the projection shimmering before him. Ancient star charts etched in crystal, flickering images of humans fighting back invaders far older than the Vorak. Worlds burned, fleets shattered, yet they survived. Jelk let out a low, amused chuckle. "If they were so dangerous, why haven't they come farther? Why remain stuck on their little blue world, hiding?" Vrax's 4 eyes gleamed cold. "Because they are weak. Nothing more." Outside the fortress windows, the vastness of space stretched infinite and dark. Stars twinkled like distant diamonds. The Vorak fleet waited in formation. Their weapons gleamed, ready to unleash. The Zephyrian dreadnoughts shimmered with deadly energy shields. "Prepare the jump drives," Vrax ordered. "We move to crush the human colonies on Mars and their pathetic defenses. We will carve their worlds from their hands and show the galaxy the fate of mammals who dare reach for the stars." Jelk nodded, voice a low growl. "They will break before our might." The command bridge hummed with cold confidence, but somewhere deep in the back of Vrax's mind a flicker of doubt, quickly snuffed out, briefly whispered, warning him to beware humanity's claws. The Vorak fleet spun into deadly formation, and the galaxy's greatest underestimation was about to be revealed. The Zephyrian High Archives hummed with quiet energy. Crystal pillars rose from the floor like frozen waterfalls. Each pillar held flickering star charts and ancient glyphs glowing with soft blue light. The hall stretched endless, walls etched with swirling cosmic maps carved in shimmering metal. Zephyrian scholars in shimmering cobalt armor moved between the pillars. Their faces were sharp, eyes narrow under heavy brows. They spoke in low, clipped tones. "Look at this," said Elder Cathar, a wizened scholar with silver streaks in his mane-like hair. He held a translucent tablet projecting a swirling hologram of human conflict. "The elder races warned us long ago. They called humans unpredictable, dangerous." Across the room, younger researcher Vekmar frowned. "Ancient myths, Elder. The humans are merely slow mammals. Their weapons are primitive, their ships sluggish. Look at their colonies, small, scattered, insignificant." Cathar's eyes narrowed. "The Exilari warned. The Exilari warned." The ancient Catharim etched warnings in stone. "They fought humans before, not easily defeated. Our ancestors dismissed them as legends, and it cost them dearly." Vekmar tapped the tablet. "These old wars were isolated incidents. Our technology far surpasses theirs. Our fleets, vast and deadly, would crush any human resistance. We have no reason to fear." The hologram flickered, showing humans fighting off alien invaders, shields flaring, weapon fire blazing. The images looped over and over. "See here," Cathar said, pointing. "Humans adapt. They change. Their biosignatures reveal rapid evolution under stress. Their resilience defies logic." Vekmar shook his head. "Primitive endurance. Every species has it. Their biology is strange, yes, but their physiology is brittle compared to ours." Another scholar, Lyra Zen, joined the discussion. Her armor shimmered with a violet tint, reflecting the blue light. What puzzles me is their AI integration. Reports suggest their machines learn and evolve in combat, not just following protocol but thinking, changing tactics real time. Cathar nodded. Listening to the elders, we find a pattern. The humans are not just survivors. They are fighters. We should not dismiss these warnings lightly, Vekmar scoffed. Warnings are for the weak. We hold the stars and the fleets. Our Vorak allies laugh at humans. They call them clumsy mammals unworthy of serious war. The Grand Hall's silence was broken by a sudden alert. A holocom flickered to life. Admiral Vorak's stern face appeared, framed by the black and red Vorak warship emblem. High Command, the Vorak fleet is ready to strike the human colonies. Their defenses are weak. We will crush their scattered forces quickly and claim their worlds before they can react. Cathar's voice was steady but firm. Remember the Elder's words. Underestimating humans is a mistake past races have paid for. Vorak's smirk was visible even through the holofeed. This is not the past. It is now. Our weapons are deadly. Our ships are superior. The humans will fall like weak prey. The crystal pillars flickered as the command bridge shifted focus. The great war room's translucent star maps showed human colonies like flickering fireflies on the edge of the Zepyrian sector. Zepyrian officers adjusted holographic controls. The image zoomed in on Mars' moons, small and seemingly defenseless. Cathar stared at the stars. May history not repeat itself. Vekmar countered, or may we write a new one where humanity is crushed beneath our feet? The room darkened as the command shifted to offensive mode. The Zepyrian Empire prepared to strike, yet beneath their confidence, ancient warnings whispered in shadow. The humans waited, unknown and underestimated, and soon the galaxy would watch as this deadly gamble played out. The Zepyrian dismissiveness and Vorak confidence set the stage. But the uneasy warnings linger. The ancient voices of the elder races remind us humans are not what they seem. Next, we join Captain Ryan Blake aboard the UESN Defiance as the humans prepare for the coming storm. Captain Ryan Blake stood on the bridge of the UESN Defiance, staring through the massive viewport. Outside, Earth hung in the black void like a sapphire jewel. Wisps of white clouds swirled above the blue oceans. The moonbase glittered below, a cluster of lights on the gray rock. The hum of the battleship's engines vibrated through the deck. The Defiance was a giant, long and sleek, its hull a patchwork of gleaming metal plates. Outside, the stars blinked cold and distant, but inside, the ship buzzed with life. Consoles glowed in soft blues and greens. Crew members moved quietly, focused on their posts. Lieutenant Jake Morrison leaned over a navigation console, his eyes sharp even under the dim red lights. He tapped the screen, running simulations of patrol routes. "Captain, sensors are clear. No sign of unusual activity in Sector 7, he reported, his voice steady. Engineer Lisa Hayes adjusted the controls on an engineering panel nearby. Sparks flickered briefly as she calibrated the shield generators. Her hands were steady, though the tension in the room was thick. "Power levels are stable," she said. "Shields at 95%. We're ready for anything." Blake nodded and turned to them, his jaw set. Good nodded and turned to them, his jaw set. "See, keep it that way. We're not expecting trouble, but we don't get caught off guard." The bridge was crowded but calm. Officers in navy blue uniforms moved between stations, checking data or speaking quietly into comms. The chatter was low, practical, focused. Every face showed the quiet pride of the Defiance's crew. Outside the viewport, the moon's surface was stark and gray. Craters cast long shadows. The space station clung to the edge of the lunar horizon, a hive of activity. Supply ships docked and undocked. Rovers rolled across the surface below, kicking up dust. Blake glanced back at Jake. "How's the fighter squadron? Ready to scramble in 2 minutes," Jake answered with a grin. "They've been itching for a chance to fly. Some of these rookies haven't even seen real combat yet." Lisa chuckled. "Let's hope they don't get their first lesson today." The captain smiled briefly but didn't relax. He knew better. Out here in the outer rim, nothing was predictable. The humans who lived in the shadow of Earth's blue glow had learned that hard lesson. In the mess hall, crew members shared stories and jokes. The smell of strong coffee and heated food filled the air. Posters on the wall showed slogans: Defiance, protecting humanity's frontier and fast, smart, unbreakable. Even in the routine moments, the spirit of the crew was clear. They were a family forged in steel and fire. Back on the bridge, Blake opened a hollow screen. Reports from the Mars colonies blinked in red. Rising tensions, minor skirmishes, unexplained power drops. Nothing out of the ordinary for this sector. Yet something gnawed at him. Jake noticed the change in Blake's expression. "You worried about something, Captain?" Blake shook his head slowly. "Just a feeling. The galaxy's bigger than we know, and not all of it wants us here." Lisa looked up from her console. "We've got the best tech, best crew. We'll be ready." Blake's eyes hardened. "We have to be. No one else will fight for us, not out there." Outside, the stars seemed to pulse. The Defiance was more than a ship. It was a symbol, a shield for humanity's future. "Prepare for patrol," Blake ordered. "Keep scanners locked on all frequencies. And tell the fleet, stay sharp." Jake grinned. "A routine day in paradise." "Paradise doesn't last," Blake said. "Not for us." The crew moved with purpose. The Defiance hummed to life, ready to face whatever lurked beyond the stars. The first warning came suddenly, a flicker on the sensor grid, a blip, a shadow. The Vorak fleet emerged from hyperspace like a swarm of black beetles, sleek warships spinning into formation just beyond Mars' orbit. Crimson plasma thrusters lit the void with angry streaks. The cold metal hulls gleamed under distant suns, deadly and silent. On the bridge of the UESN Atlantica, Captain Darius Chen's hands tightened around the console. Sensors screamed, tracking hundreds of Vorak ships pouring into human space. "Sir, they're heading straight for the Phobos colony," Lieutenant Sarah Kim said, eyes wide. "Weapon batteries are powering up now, but we're outnumbered, fast." Captain Chen nodded, voice calm but firm. "All ships, defend the colony, prioritize civilian evacuation, engage with plasma turrets and missile arrays, hold the line." The red dust swirled below, casting eerie shadows over the moonscape. On Phobos, alarm sirens blared. Colonists scrambled to shelters or to hastily boarded evacuation shuttles. "Incoming plasma fire!" shouted Gunnery Officer Malik as streaks of blazing energy lanced through the sky. Explosions lit the barren surface, illuminating the rocky terrain with violent bursts. Human defense turrets spat rapid-fire pulses, but the Vorak weapons hammered relentlessly. The UESN Atlantica rocked as a plasma bolt slammed into its starboard side. Warning lights flashed, hull plating groaned. Shields holding at 60%. Engineer Lisa Hayes reported from the damage control station, fingers dancing over touchscreens. "We're losing ground, Captain." Nearby, the UESN Sentinel and USS Valkyrie maneuvered through the chaos, their sleek hulls darting between enemy fire like sharks in a blood-red sea. "Fighters deploying!" Lieutenant Jake Morrison called over comms, launching squadrons of human interceptors. The tiny ship zipped in sharp arcs, weaving through alien laser fire. From his cockpit, Jake's eyes flicked over his HUD, tracking enemy fighters closing in. "Target on my 6, evasive maneuvers!" The dogfight was brutal. Vorak drones swarmed like hornets, firing relentless plasma blasts. Human fighter wings twisted and turned, dodging death by millimeters. "Missile lock," Jake warned. He flipped his thrusters and fired a burst of chaff to confuse the seeker. The missile veered off and exploded harmlessly in space. Back on the ground, Phobos' orbital defenses sputtered and failed one by one. Explosions tore through vital power relays. The airlock sealed on the civilian outpost with a final hiss. "Evacuation complete," the colony commander radioed, "but we'll need cover to get everyone off the surface." Captain Chen gritted his teeth. "Hold on, reinforcements en route," but the Vorak fleet pressed their advantage. Plasma and missile barrages rained down relentlessly. Small human warships like the USS Vigilant and USS Resolute scrambled to intercept, but the enemy's numbers and firepower overwhelmed them. One by one, human ships burst into fireballs, debris scattered like deadly rain across the vacuum. "Atlantica to Defiance," Chen radioed, voice tense. "We're taking heavy losses here. Request immediate support." From Earth orbit, the UESN Defiance's bridge buzzed with incoming alerts. Captain Ryan Blake stood over the command console, watching the battle unfold on massive holographic displays. "Vorak fleet just hit Phobos," Blake said, eyes narrowing. "They're brutal and fast. Our outposts aren't ready for this." Lisa Hayes, monitoring damage reports, shook her head. "They're stripping the colony bare before we can respond." Jake Morrison leaned forward, fists clenched. "We've got to get there fast. No way we let them wipe out a whole colony." Outside the viewport, Earth hung like a blue jewel, silent and serene. But out here, war was tearing through human space with savage fury. Back at Phobos, the battle reached a fever pitch. Vorak bombers dropped pulse bombs that detonated with concussive force, shattering rock and tearing apart bunkers. "Missile salvo inbound!" shouted Gunnery Officer Malik. Explosions bloomed like deadly flowers around the UESN Sentinel, shaking the ship violently. "Brace for impact!" the captain yelled. Yet, despite the devastation, human crews fought on. Fighters regrouped, pushing back against the Vorak drones. Plasma turrets spun faster, targeting enemy ships with surgical precision. But time was running out. The alien fleet's superiority was clear. Human ships were outgunned, outnumbered, and pushed to their limits. Captain Chen's voice cut through the chaos on the Atlantica. "We hold for now. But if Defiance can't reach us soon, Phobos falls." The scene was chaos writ large, red explosions like distant suns blooming across the moonscape, sleek warships dancing deadly ballets, and human fighters diving through hailstorms of alien fire. And then, from the shadows of space, the UESN Defiance slipped forward, silent and waiting. The real fight was about to begin. The battle raged in the cold black above Mars' moons. Explosions painted the void in bursts of orange and white. The Vorak fleet pressed their attack, confident and relentless, but the humans were not finished. A low hum rolled through the UESN Defiance's command deck. Captain Ryan Blake stood tall, eyes narrowing on the flickering tactical display. Red blips marked approaching enemy fighters. The pressure was immense. "Lieutenant Morrison, status report," Blake ordered. Jake's voice crackled through the comm, steady despite the chaos. "Sir, the Atlantica and the other escort ships are taking heavy fire. We're outnumbered and outgunned." "They're pushing hard." Blake nodded grimly. "Prepare to execute Protocol Silent Dawn." Engineer Lisa Hayes glanced up from her console, fingers flying over the controls. "Activating cloaked hangar bays now, Captain. 5 minutes to deploy the Shadow Fleet." The bridge's holographic stars shimmered as a new formation unfolded. From behind the Defiance's massive hull, sleek shapes blinked into existence. The hidden armada, stealth ships, and unmanned drones like ghosts emerging from the void. The Defiance's hangar doors slid open in silence. From within, dozens of smaller vessels slipped out, their hulls matte black, surfaces shimmering with adaptive camouflage. The drones were sharp-edged, fast, and packed with micro-missiles and laser arrays. "They're invisible to Vorak sensors," Lisa said, voice tight. "Their AI allows rapid adaptation to enemy tactics. They learn every second." Jake grinned over the comm. "Time to show them why humans aren't so easy to kill." Outside, the Vorak fighters continued their assault, unaware of the deadly swarm closing in on them. Suddenly, the black ships darted through the alien formations, weaving unpredictably. The drones split, some swarming the Vorak missile batteries, others targeting plasma turrets. AI-controlled weapons fired in perfect synchronization. The alien fleet's elegant formations shattered. "Drones are breathing down their necks, Captain," Lisa called. "Enemy shields dropping fast." Blake's eyes gleamed. "All hands prepare to fire the Earthbreaker." The Earthbreaker was the Defiance's secret weapon, a monstrous cannon powered by a compact zero-point reactor. It was the product of decades of secret research, a last resort to break any siege. The weapon's energy core glowed a fierce blue, pulsing with raw power. "Charging Earthbreaker now," Lisa said. The Vorak fleet faltered, confused by the sudden appearance of the stealth armada. Their sensors blinked erratically. The black ships moved with deadly precision, never where the aliens expected. Jake maneuvered the Defiance through the chaos. "Taking heavy fire, Captain." "Shields down to 40%. Hold steady," Blake said. "We've got one shot at this." The Earthbreaker's pulse grew brighter, casting eerie blue light over the bridge. The ship hummed like a living thing. The cannon unleashed a colossal beam of energy. It tore through the darkness, a massive pulse that slammed into the center of the Vorak formation. The shockwave rippled outward, shattering ships like glass. Explosions blossomed across the enemy fleet. Vorak warships erupted into firestorms, their black hulls breaking apart. "Direct hit," Lisa said, voice filled with awe. "They're reeling." Jake's voice crackled with renewed hope. "I'm pushing us forward, Captain. Let's finish this." The stealth fleet surged. Drones swarmed like angry hornets attacking weakened ships. Human fighters darted through debris fields, firing lasers with deadly accuracy. Blake stood, fists clenched. "This is what you missed, Vorak." Blake stood, fists clenched. "This is what you missed, Vorak." "You thought we were weak, fragile, slow, but you never saw the swarm beneath our scales." The Defiance's hull shook as enemy plasma slashed across the shields. But the humans fought on. Their technology repaired itself, hull plating knitting back together in real time. Lisa's eyes scanned rapidly. Hull integrity stable. Shields holding. AI adaptive algorithms are countering their new tactics as they evolve. We're learning faster than they can react. The Vorak fleet was in chaos, their formations broken, their flagship crippled. The once confident enemy was now scrambling to regroup. Blake's voice grew cold, cutting through the tension. This is only the beginning. Tell the High Command humanity fights not just with weapons, but with will, and we will not stop. Outside the viewport, the stars held silent witness. The hidden human armada glowed faintly in the blackness, a living shadow ready to strike again. The secret strength of humanity had been revealed, and the galaxy would never be the same. The bridge of the UESN Defiance burned red with alarm lights. The distant stars outside the massive viewport were stained by flashes of enemy fire. Captain Ryan Blake stood tall, his face sharp and resolute under the crimson glow. The hum of the ship's engines thrummed through the metal floor like a heartbeat. "Damage report!" Blake's voice cut through the tension like a blade. Lisa Hayes, the ship's lead engineer, tapped furiously at her console, her brow furrowed, strands of dark hair falling into her eyes. "Hull breaches patched, Captain. Power rerouted to shields and weapons. We're holding, but the Vorak swarms keep coming." Jake Morrison gripped his pilot controls, his knuckles white. "Enemy fires heavy. Their plasma arrays punch through our forward shields every time. We're scraping the edge here." Blake's eyes never wavered from the viewport. "Good, let them punch. We're not just holding. We're about to show them what humanity fights for." He turned to the communication console. His voice dropped low, steady but fierce. "This broadcast goes out to every Vorak warlord within range. You see us as weak, fragile mammals clumsily grasping at the stars. You underestimate what we carry beneath our skin." The ship speakers crackled. Across the black void on enemy channels, Blake's words rippled through their fleets. "You think you can crush us because you see only what's on the surface," he said. "You don't know our history. You don't know what we've survived. You don't know what we fight for." Lisa leaned closer to her console. "Captain, I've got the Earthbreaker ready. Systems are green, targeting their flagship." Blake nodded slowly, voice rising. "Good. Let them hear this too." His gaze swept the bridge. The red emergency lights painted the crew in harsh shadows, faces set with grim determination. Engineers, tacticians, pilots, all part of a machine built on stubborn hope. "Vorak commanders," Blake's voice boomed, "we fight for more than territory. We fight for home, for the memories of those who came before us, for the children who will inherit this galaxy. You think your fleets and weapons are the measure of strength? You are wrong." Jake's hands moved with frantic precision. Shields at 30%. Incoming missile swarm dead ahead. Lisa's fingers danced over the console, activating countermeasures. "Deploying drone swarms to intercept." "Good," Blake said, "because we don't just fight to survive. We fight to win. We will stand on this line, every ship, every soul, and if we fall, we will make sure the stars remember us. We will burn so bright no darkness can swallow our light." The view outside exploded with energy as the Earthbreaker's power core surged. A brilliant blue glow gathered at the ship's bow, pulsating like a second sun. The weapon charged slowly, terrifyingly. Lisa's voice was steady but urgent. "Earthbreaker at full power. Ready to fire on your command, Captain." Blake raised his hand for silence. His voice softened, but the fire remained. "You may have weapons, you may have numbers, but we have something you will never understand. The will to fight, the heart to endure." He looked directly into the camera so every enemy soldier could see. "This is your warning. Back off now, or we will break your lines. We will shatter your ships. We will make you regret ever looking at our corner of space." Behind him, the crew caught their breath. Jake gritted his teeth, steadying the Defiance through the storm of fire. Lisa watched the power readings with hawk eyes. Blake's voice dropped to a whisper, but every word cracked like thunder in the tense silence. "We are human. We do not surrender. We do not flinch. And we do not disappear quietly." The moment stretched. Outside, the enemy fleet hesitated, caught off guard by the raw power of those words. A massive pulse of blue energy blasted from the Defiance's bow. It tore through the blackness, a shockwave that rippled like a stone dropped in a dark pond. Enemy ships flared, their shields overwhelmed by the weapon's fury. The bridge shook with the impact, but the crew held firm. The red lights flickered, then steadied. Blake turned back to his crew, voice low but fierce. "Hold the line! Fight harder! We've only just begun!" Lisa's fingers flew, rerouting power to the engines. Jake's hands tightened on the controls. Every eye was fixed on the chaos outside. The galaxy was watching. The humans had spoken. The battle raged worse than a storm. Red blasts tore through the blackness. Alien ships moved with deadly precision, like killer beetles swarming a helpless prey. But the humans, Captain Blake's fleet, were no prey. From the UESN Defiance, the command deck burned with activity. Every screen, every console pulsed with life. The crew members moved like a well-oiled machine. Lieutenant Jake Morrison eased the Defiance's massive hull through a sudden gravity wave. The ship tilted sharply, twisting unpredictably. "Get ready," Jake muttered over comms. "They won't see this coming." Lisa Hayes, the chief engineer, adjusted power flows. "Shields at 86%. Cloaking fields stabilizing, were ghosting in on their blind spot. The blind spot was no accident. Humans had studied the Vorak fleet's formations. They found weak points, shadows in the dance of warships. The Vorak flagship, a monstrous black spire named Jarkith, was vulnerable on its starboard side. Captain Blake's voice cut through the tension. "Calm, firm, execute. Plan eclipse. All units switch to stealth approach. Target the flagship. Disable their command. Then we hit with Earthbreaker." Ships vanished from sight, cloaking devices flickering like fireflies in the void. Swarms of unmanned drones buzzed forward, AI-controlled and deadly precise. They swarmed at the Vorak lines, a relentless wave of tiny death. The flagship Jarkith loomed ahead, its dark hull gleaming cold under distant stars. Its plasma turrets spun and locked on the invisible hunters. Come on, Jake said, hands tight on the controls. "You won't get us." Suddenly, the Defiance fired its gravity pulse. The massive wave rippled out, warping space near the Jarkith. Alien ships staggered, thrown off course. Vorak fighters crashed into each other in confusion. The fleet exploded from stealth, lacing the flagship's starboard side. Bright green plasma beams tore into the armor. Explosions bloomed like deadly flowers. The Jarkith bellowed, firing back with fury. Plasma bolts lit the void, catching human ships in bursts of fire. Jake weaved through the chaos, dodging blasts. He saw Lisa's team working furiously to patch shields and repair damage. "Damage report!" Blake demanded. "Hull breaches on the port side, but holding," Lisa answered. Cloak almost ready for the heavy strike. The weapon was a masterpiece of human engineering. A massive cannon built to punch through worlds. Its core glowed an angry blue, humming with raw power. "Ready the Earthbreaker!" Blake ordered. "We end this now." The hum deepened, low and threatening. The Earthbreaker unleashed a shockwave that rippled through space. A brilliant pulse of blue energy blasted into the Jarkith. The flagship shuddered violently. Cracks spiderwebbed across its hull. Explosions erupted, tearing through its systems. On the Vorak command bridge, alarms blared. Captain Vorkath screamed orders. The Jarkith cracked open like a dying star. Flames and debris spilled into space. The flagship exploded in a million shards, sending shockwaves through the enemy fleet. Vorak ships scattered, disoriented, and broken. "Status report," Blake demanded. "Enemy command vessel destroyed," Jake replied. "Their fleet is falling apart." The human ships pressed the advantage. Using gravity manipulation, they twisted the battlefield. Enemy formations tore apart. Cloaked ships struck from unexpected angles. Human drones swarmed with deadly efficiency. "Take that, you overgrown bugs," Jake muttered, grinning. Captain Blake's voice rang out over comms again. "This is Captain Blake. Vorak flagship destroyed. Your command is broken. Surrender now or be crushed." Then furious alien transmissions crackled back. "You are rats with fire. We will burn your worlds to ash." The battle raged on, but the tide had turned. Human ships darted through debris fields like hunters. Laser and plasma beams crossed in a deadly ballet. The Vorak fleet began to retreat, their lines shattered. "Pursue at half speed," Blake ordered. "Don't let them regroup." The Defiance led the charge, a beacon of human will. Around them, stars flickered cold and distant, but in this moment, humanity shone brightest. The humans were no weak mammals, and the storm had only just begun. The shattered remains of the Vorak flagship drifted in silent space. Flames flickered across its broken hull. The explosion had sent shockwaves through the enemy lines, fracturing their fleet's cohesion like glass. Captain Ryan Blake stood on the bridge of the UESN Defiance. His jaw was tight. His eyes scanned the viewport where distant stars glittered cold and sharp. Behind him, the command deck hummed with exhausted energy. "Enemy fleet is retreating," Lieutenant Jake Morrison reported, fingers dancing over the console. "They're pulling back toward the outer rim." Blake nodded. Good. Let them know what happens when they come to human space uninvited. His voice was steady but fierce. The massive battleship's hull vibrated gently as internal systems cycled through repairs. Engineer Lisa Hayes stood nearby, arms crossed, watching damage reports. We held the line, Captain, but this fight showed us they won't stop. Not now. Blake turned to her. We're ready. The Earthbreaker is still online, and the hidden Armada's cloaked ships have given us the edge. They won't see us coming next time. Outside, the human fleet began to regroup. Cloaked frigates slipped through the darkness like shadows. Swarms of AI-guided drones buzzed quietly, repairing hull breaches and scanning for enemy stragglers. The UESN Atlantica and other cruisers formed tight formations around the Defiance, shields glowing blue in the cold void. A deep calm settled over the bridge. The battle was won for now, but the cost weighed heavy. Blake's voice cut through the silence. Comms, send a warning broadcast across the sectors, to every colony and outpost. Yes, Captain. The communications officer's fingers flew. To all who would threaten humanity, we are not weak. We are not your prey. This war is only beginning. Prepare yourselves. In the distant black, the last flickers of the Vorak fleet disappeared into faster-than-light drives. Defiant but broken, the bridge's holographic star map shifted. A new course lit up, a path to deep space. The hidden Armada, cloaked and unseen, prepared to leave behind the battered moons and scorched colonies. Blake stood before the glowing display. Set course for the Outer Rim Patrol. We'll find them before they find us again. Lisa smiled grimly. They thought us fragile, slow, backward. They don't understand what we've become. Jake leaned on a console, eyes bright. And they never will. Outside, the blue glow of Earth hung like a beacon in the blackness. The home world was peaceful for now. But the galaxy was watching. Ships slipped quietly into warp lanes, disappearing among the stars. The human fleet was a ghost fleet now, a shadow no enemy dared ignore. Blake's gaze hardened. We've made our mark. But the bigger empires will come next, and when they do, we'll be waiting. The crew exchanged determined looks. The battle was a warning, a promise. Humanity had fought back, fierce and unyielding. The Defiance's engines thrummed softly, carrying them away from the ruined moons and toward the unknown. The cold void stretched before them, a vast battlefield where humans would carve their legend, and the galaxy would never forget the day a single human battleship got too close. The war was far from over, but the human fight had only just begun.